Hello, I'd like to take a minute to connect Parsha Vayikra with Parsha Zachor, both of which we are commanded to hear this Shabbat. And in Parsha Zachor, we are supposed to hear these words: Zachor et asher asalacha Amalek, asher karcha derech. And this means to remember what Amalek had did to us when they happened upon us on the way. And Rashi tells us that this word karcha, that they happened upon us on our way, is a language of happenstance. Now, this is of course when we had left Mitzrayim, we were on our way to the Holy Land, and this attack that Amalek waged war on us happened right after the people had complained. They were having trouble, they didn't have water, and they complained and said, what's the story? Is God with us or is God not with us? And they doubted God's presence. They doubted the hashgacha prati, God's divine providence, and they didn't think that God was with them. And so the consequence of this mind frame was God said, you don't think I'm with you? Let me show you what happens when I am not with you. Because you see, God is with us so many times that we're not even aware of, just because we're not aware of the threats that are looming and lurking behind us, that God is, thank God, managing before they come to us, doesn't mean that they don't exist. So many things in life God's protecting us from, and we're not even cognizant of the potential dangers that are lurking, and that God is thwarting for us. But God says, if you don't think that I'm watching over you, I'll show you what happens, what happens, what occurs naturally. And what happened was that there were people that were seeking their destruction, and God took away the providence, and they attacked them. And this wasn't a punishment, it was just a consequence. It was made so that people can have an awareness. And what happens to people, unfortunately, is whatever they believe in. You make your situations, and what happens to you, usually is a result of what you believe in. And if we look in Vayikra, it's incredible because it starts out, the first pasuk says, Vayikra el Moshe, period, and then Vayidaber Hashem el Moshe, ... And in this word, Vayikra, the aleph is small. So without the aleph, it's Vayikar el Moshe. But of course, the little aleph exists. It's still there. So Vayikar el Moshe is what happened to Moshe. And what happened to Moshe is that little aleph. Aleph represents God, the Alufal Sha'olam. What happened to Moshe was a conversation with God, which comes in the next sentence, because Moshe believed, more than anyone else in the whole planet, he had the closest relationship. So he believed in God. He carried God with him at all times. So a natural consequence of what he believed and who he was and what happened to him was a conversation with God, which happened next, and was a meeting with God, which happens after that in the Ohel Moed. And that was a natural consequence of his connection to God. And of course, these are two extremes of things that happen to people. The complete denying of God's providence, which led them to this threat of utter annihilation from Amalek. And then Moshe, on the other hand, who had the deepest, closest connection to God, and what happened to him was a conversation, was a personal meeting up in the Ohel Moed. And in life, of course, it's usually not one extreme or the other. We're normal people with normal lives. But the message I think we're supposed to get from this is that what happens to us in our life is a consequence of what we believe in, of what we think, of what we ascribe to. So if we want blessings and we want a good life, we have to cultivate a mindset, a belief system that will reflect that, because life is bounced back at you. It's a reflection of what you believe in is what you attract. It's karma, if you want to call it. And so work on that. Cultivate a mind frame and a belief system and a life that you want, that the things that happen to you fall in line with that way. So it's up to you to do that. And I wish that you have much success in that. Shabbat Shalom.